Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Crista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. Today's episode is all about making time off non-negotiable this summer. This is the first part of a 2-part series. Today, we're going to be focusing on your time. And in our next episode, we're going to be diving in and looking at how you can be generating revenue all summer long, even when you are at the beach or sitting by the pool or enjoying the absolutely gorgeous weather and not stuck inside at your computer at your desk. So for today, what I want to dive into is how can you really truly set yourself up for success and have this be the year that you actually get to enjoy the summer without guilt, without constant messages from your team and your clients when you're trying to take time off, and without the hamster running in your mind the entire time you're trying to relax, thinking all about business and all of the things that need to be done or that may or may not be getting done. So let's dive in. And the thing is that right now is when you should actually really be thinking about and preparing for summer. Here's what I find ends up happening all too often. There's 2 different scenarios. And the first is where I see business owners go into summer with the best of intentions to take a break. They're excited. They're thinking this is going to be the year that I actually enjoy the summer. But then summer gets here and they end up really busy and they just think, okay, you know what? Not today. I've got too much to do today, but that's okay. I'm going to take time off tomorrow. And then somehow summer ends up being magically over and they never got to enjoy a real break. And they end up really frustrated and resentful that yet another summer came and went and they were stuck working in their business. So that's the first scenario. And the second scenario is the opposite, where somebody does actually commit to take that time away from their business and they step away, they have their summer vacation, they reduce their work hours, they end up with a beautiful tan, they've got lots of great memories. It's all good in that respect. But when it comes time to generating revenue in their business, not so much. And then they come back into their business and they end up in a state of complete and total overwhelm because they realize they've got to double down and they've got to figure out how to make a ton of revenue in the fall. And that ends up sticking with them through the end of the year. They just put themselves in a state of overwhelm and they put themselves in a position where they really have to overwork in order to hit their revenue goals. And it just sets them up for a really stressful second half of the year. So maybe you've experienced one or both of these scenarios before. I know I most certainly have. And what I'd like to challenge this year is, what if you didn't have to choose between time off or consistent revenue and instead could actually have both? This is something that I help my clients with all the time, so I can say without a doubt that it is absolutely possible. So let's set you up to be able to actually enjoy your summer and consistently bring in revenue while you're taking time off. So if you're wondering how you do it, my answer probably isn't going to surprise you because it's the same answer I give in almost every scenario. It's really the key to scaling your business and reclaiming your time, whether it's summer or whether it's any other point in the year. And that is that you need a combination of strategy, planning, systems, and team. And here's the thing that's really good. Right now, you've got some motivation to focus on your strategy, planning, and systems and team because summer's coming. But once you put these things in place and really build this out successfully, there's no reason why you only have to leverage it for summer. This can be something that you leverage all year long so that you have a business that runs itself and you're able to remove yourself as that dependency and that bottleneck in your business for things getting done. So leverage the desire to take some time off over the summer as the catalyst to finally dig in and either get started with implementing the right strategy, planning, systems, and team to scale. Or if you already have a lot of that in place, leverage this as the opportunity to really up-level it and be able to give yourself even more of that time freedom and really up-level your team to be able to take on more. So that's all going to start with getting your strategy and planning in place. Let's dive in and talk about what that's going to look like when we really look at that in consideration of your schedule. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is, as you look at summer, when do you want to work? What do you want your schedule to be like? Is summer no different than any other time during the year? It's business as usual. There's absolutely no change to what you're doing. I've had many summers where that is the case, right? Or is this a year where you want to take some time off for vacations? Maybe you've got some really fun and exciting things planned over the summer. Maybe you want to do a reduced work week. So maybe there's no big vacations, but you'd like to only work Monday through Thursday so you have a long weekend. Or maybe you're going to keep your Monday through Friday schedule if that's what you do today, but you're going to shift your schedule to start and end earlier so that you can spend more time outside in the nice weather and in the daylight. Maybe it's a combination of all of those things, or maybe for you, in your particular business, maybe it's even going to be an increased work week instead of a reduced work week. So there's no right or wrong here. It's just a matter of what is that schedule that you want and that you plan on for this coming summer. You want to start by getting clear on that first, because regardless of how much you want to work, there's ultimately two things that you want. One, when you're working, you want to be as productive as possible and feel confident that you're working on the most important and aligned activities. And two, when you're not working, you want to be able to turn off the hamster wheel in your mind and actually fully check out and be present in the moment. So you're enjoying the summer and enjoying your experiences. So to do this, you need to balance demand with capacity. Demand is all of those competing things that you think you need to do. Now, whether you actually need to do them all or not, to be determined, but it's all of the things that you're planning to get done over the summer. Your capacity is all of the time and resources that you actually have available to do them. That's your time, that's your team's time, it's the tools, it's everything that you have available to you to actually get the things done that you want to. So start off by getting clear on what your capacity actually is. How many hours and when do you want to work this summer? And what about your team, right? Do they have vacations coming up? Are they shifting their schedules? What does that look like? You just want to start with a clear picture of what everyone's capacity looks like and what the schedule looks like for the summer season. From there, you want to dive into your planning and you want to actually create your Q3 plan now. You don't want to wait until the end of June or the beginning of July to be creating it, because at that point, it's going to be too late. You're going to miss the opportunity to do some of the things that we're going to talk about that's going to really set you up for success, to be able to step away from your business or reimagine your schedule. So once you're clear on everyone's capacity and when people are going to be working from a schedule perspective, you want to restructure your days to really optimize how you're working. And there's 3 different tools that you're going to want to leverage. The first is capacity-based planning. The second is alignment-based planning. And the third is strengths-based planning. Capacity-based planning helps ensure that you do not overcommit yourself and you don't end up overworking. We've talked about this quite a bit in prior episodes. And one of the things that I always share is you want to make sure that you're doing your planning with your capacity in mind. So if you're going to be working 30 hours per week, you don't want to be planning for more than 70% of that time. You want to leave 30% open space in your schedule at all points in time. But most importantly, you want to actually commit to the things that you're going to do based on your capacity. You don't just want this never-ending list of things to do, because that's how you end up overworking and stuck at your computer looking longingly out the window while everyone else is at the pool and enjoying the great weather. We don't want that. So start with capacity-based planning. Next, you want to make sure that you're doing the alignment-based planning, which ensures that you're working on the right things. Right? Everything that you do should tie back to your vision and goals. So you want to have clarity on where you're going. You want that long-term vision, that vision for this year, and clarity on your goals for Q3. Also can be really helpful to be looking towards the second half of the year as well. And use all of that to really make sure that the things that you're committing to right now are the right things and the most aligned things. And finally, strengths-based planning, which ensures that you are working in the most efficient and the most effective way possible for you. So this is about structuring your day to do those activities when you're going to be best at doing them. So let's say you are most creative and most productive first thing in the morning. So you're going to want to front load your day with those activities that require a lot of creativity and a lot of productivity, and you'd want to align other activities later in the day. There's a lot more that goes into strengths-based planning, but that's just one simple example. So the key here is that you want to optimize your schedule. So for whatever time it is that you're going to be working, you want to make sure that you've created the space to actually get done the things that need to be done, that you're working on the right things, and that you're playing to your strengths so that things are happening as efficiently and effectively as possible. And as I shared before, that's something that you want to do all the time, not just for summer. So leverage this as your opportunity to start to put some of these practices into place. Now, to do this and really be able to optimize your schedule, you need a clear plan of what your biggest priorities and what your focus areas are going to be. And there's a few different categories of things that you're probably going to be working on. You've got your baseline things that need to happen to actually run your business, and you have existing client commitments that you need to deliver on and meet, and all of your recurring activities. Then in addition, you're going to probably have some specific projects or some specific marketing campaigns that you're planning to take on and focusing on over the summer. So map out what all of that is going to look like and go ahead and create your Q3 strategic plan right now that's going to span the summer. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into that plan and what to focus on and how to map things out so that you're generating revenue in our next episode. Okay, so now that you have your strategy and planning in place, it's all about focusing on your systems next. And so systems are not only what are going to enable you to step away and take time off in the summer, but they're the things that are going to allow your team to run the day-to-day of the business going forward. And it's especially helpful over the summer where a lot of people end up taking vacations or taking time off or working different hours to be able to have those systems in place so that you can feel confident that everything is going to still get done really well with good quality, even if it's different people who are doing things from what normally happens on a regular week. So with the clarity of what you're going to actually be focused on over the summer, there's a few different things that you want to analyze. The first is when you look at all of those different activities, where can you automate what you're doing? Are there automations that you can put in place? There usually are. And if you are a natural visionary and you're not a natural systems thinker, you're not somebody who thinks in terms of processes and technology and tools and those sorts of things, if you have somebody on your team who is, ask them to look at what can be automated. I'm currently working with a client, and as I've been helping them implement Lean Out Method and our Lean Strategic Planning system into their business, I noticed a ton of opportunities and places where they could automate things that they're doing manually today. So as we're going in and getting things set up, I'm asking, why are you having people do this? You know that this tool can just do this for you. And they didn't realize that that was even an option. So there may be things that you already know that you can automate, and that's great. Look at how you can get that done. But if you look and you don't see anything that can be automated, ask somebody on your team who has that natural skill set and see what they come up with, because there may be automation opportunities that you're just simply not recognizing that can actually save you a ton of time and money and energy. Now, next, with everything that's left, what you want to look at is where can you simplify and then systematize what you're doing. Always simplify first. Even if you're going to delegate something, simplify first. If you're going to keep doing something, simplify first, right? So look at everything that you're doing that's remaining and see where you can simplify things so that you're getting the same or better results with less effort. Once you've done that, that's where you want to start to put those systems in place. And systems are going to be what give you repeatable results. So you want to look at what's working, what do you want to repeat, and that's what you want to create your system around. Now, the next thing you want to look at is what are those things that can truly only be done by you, and what are the things that can be delegated? Now, you may not have the people today to delegate those things, but what are the things that literally you are the only person in your business that can do and probably can ever do in the near term? And what are those things, if you had the right person or if you took the time to train and hire somebody, could be delegated? So get clear on what that is. And then finally, look at what you can lean out, right? Hopefully you've got clarity on what to be focused on for the summer and you don't have any noise or distractions or fluff in there. But that being said, take one more pass through all of the different activities that people normally do on a recurring basis, plus the things that you're planning to do, and see is there anything that does not need to be done over the summer. That's going to help you make sure that you are staying laser focused and you're repeating and getting the best results from what you're doing. And you do want to invest that time up front now to automate where you can, to document your processes and create your systems. And then as we're going to dive into team next, you want to also be able to leverage that to then cross-train and up-level your team so things can run smoothly without you. And speaking of team, maybe you are at a place where you know that you need to be hiring someone new. Maybe there's a new hire in your short-term future that you've been looking to make, or maybe you've got people on your team that you just know aren't the right people, or maybe you don't have the right people in the right roles and you really know that you need to shift some things around and make some changes. Well, if any of that is the case, now is absolutely the time to get started on it, because it can take time to find the right person, to get them onboarded, to get them trained and get them to a place where you're both comfortable, both you and them, with them being able to run things and do things on their own. So the earlier, the better. The same, even if you're taking existing team members and kind of re-shifting around some of what they're doing, they still need time to acclimate to the new activities. They need time to get feedback. They need time for it to become second nature. So you don't want to plop this on people the day before you check out for vacation in an ideal world. We know that realistically that happens a lot, but you have the opportunity right now to do things proactively and really set yourself and your team up for a lot of success. So this is the opportunity to do that. This is also the time to assess if you do have the right people in the right roles, right? You want everybody playing to their strengths, not just you. So are there any shifts that you can or should be making? If you will be delegating some of your responsibilities, make sure that the person who's taking those on is capable, they have the capacity to do it, and they have the right training and support, as well as clearly documented systems so that they can do it well, and you have the confidence that you can delegate it to them. Now is also the time to go out and update your team accountabilities wherever you have those documented and stored. We track ours in Monday.com. It's where we have everything in our business. We have a board that very clearly shows all of the core activities in the business, who is the primary person who owns it, and who their backup is. If you go in and look at that document or the equivalent of that in your business, you can usually pretty clearly see where somebody may not have a backup and you might need to identify and cross-train someone. Or if you're going to be moving some things around between team members, make sure that it's really clear and that that's all updated so the whole team has visibility into who's doing what over the summer or going forward. And similar to what I said about your planning for Q3, now is the time to expand or make changes within your team so you can be ready for summer. It's the time to look at cross-training, at hiring, at onboarding new resources, and really being able to build up the skill and the capacity in the business. So that takes us through strategy, planning, systems, and team, and really getting yourself in a place where you can make time off non-negotiable this summer. In our next episode, in the next part of this series, we're going to dive in and take it further and look at how you can actually be generating revenue every single day throughout the summer while you are off enjoying the beach or the pool or whatever it is that you plan to be doing to make the most of the upcoming summer season. So I hope you got a ton of value out of this episode. I will see you again next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I hope you got a lot of value and actionable insights from today's show and would love if you take a moment to leave us a review. If you have any questions on today's episode or on how to lean out your business, join us over in our private Facebook community, where every week we do live training and Q&A, and I'd love to have you be part of the conversation. Head to leanoutmethod.com/group to join us. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to the show so you're the first to know when we release a new episode. We'll see you next week.